So yesterday, when we talked about our formulas, if there was, like, I think some of you even had some interest problems on your warm-up. Those would be what we consider just simple interest, okay? However, at the bank, more times than not, you're going to have what we call compound interest, okay? So here is our compound interest formula. There's a little bit more to it, yeah? Okay. P. P is in the same place as what letter from yesterday? A. And what did A stand for? Like our initial amount, right? It's still the same thing, but when we're talking about investments, we call it the principal amount, okay? But it still means initial. Okay. It's still how much are we starting with? Okay. What do you think R stands for? Rate. Okay. Again, you need this to be in decimal form, not percentage form, okay? And they will describe this as an annual rate, okay? Because the rate is going to stay the same throughout the year. It's not going to change, okay? Now, this is important, and I noticed on some of your warm-up problems, you had different measurements for time, and that is fine. But when we do compound interest, time will always be in years. Always. Okay? It's always going to be in years because of what N represents. N represents the number of times we're being compounded per year. Okay, it will be important that we are very careful with our calculators, okay? And that we get these set up nicely, okay? All right, so in example 1, I see a bunch of numbers. 12,000. What is that? Okay, P for principal. Okay, Jace, what is R?
The 9%.
Okay, are we going to use 9?
No, we're going to use 0.09.
Okay, we need to put it in decimal form. Some of us were making that mistake on our warm-up. Okay, mistakes are good. We make them and then we remember that we need to fix them. Okay, find the balance after 5 years if it's compounded quarterly. So what is 5 representing? Okay, so the only thing we haven't figured out is N. What do you think N is? Okay, and what number would be our quarterly? How many times is it compounded per year if it's happening quarterly? There are 4 quarters in a year. Okay, so quarterly would mean we're compounding 4 times per year. Okay. Did you figure out what worksheet we were talking about? No? Okay. When we're done, we'll look at it. Okay. So, Y equals our principal times 1 plus our rate over N raised to the N times T. Okay? So this is what I'm going to do. I can take 4 times 5, no problem, right? So I'm going to go ahead and say, okay, well, this just means to the 20th power. Yeah? Okay. And in my calculator, because you have a nice calculator to help you, I'm going to type it in like this. I'm going to type in 12,001 plus 0.09 divided by 4 raised to the 20th power. Just as we see it. We're going to type it in just as we see it. Okay? We're talking about money. So I don't need to tell you, round to the nearest hundredth. You know that money needs to be rounded to the nearest hundredth. Do you get $18,726.11? Yes.
How do you do 20 for the
4 was N and 5 was T, and we're supposed to multiply them. So I just did 4 times 5 to be 20. That way, when I typed it in, I only had to type in the one number. Otherwise, it gets a little complicated. Okay. Okay, do not plug it into your calculator yet. Could you read through example number 2 and just set up the problem? All right. Do you have y equals 20,000? 1 plus 0.045 over, what number did you put there for n? Ah, there are 12 months in a year. Okay. And then our exponent is 12 times 7. Yeah? All right, what's 12 times 7?
84.
Okay, so we're going to change this to be 84. And now we're going to type it into our calculator. Okay, so just as we see it, type it in. Think about the reasonableness of your answer. If you get less than 20,000, that's a problem. $27,389.05. All right. Is anybody struggling with their calculator? Like, can I help you with your calculator? Are we doing okay getting these answers? Okay. read through example 3. Does your answer seem reasonable that we went from 3,000 to 26,000?
Trying to figure that out.
All right. What is P? P is 3,000. What's our rate? 0.06. Compounded weekly, how much is that? 52. Here's your warning, there's 52 weeks in a year. Okay? So 52 times 3. I don't see a 3. 36 months, but I said that time had to be in years. 36 months means 3 years. Okay, so you might need to use your calculator for this, although I think you'll be fine without. What is 52 times 3? Okay, so please put this into your calculator. So $3,591.28 is what I read off of Theo's page. Do you agree with Theo? Okay, that's good. Okay. Now, this is when we compounded weekly, yes? Okay. If I ask you to do the same thing but compounded quarterly, before you calculate it, how is it going to be different than our calculation for weekly? Okay? Is it going to be more or is it going to be less? I'm hearing less, I'm hearing more. Okay, let's see. How about you find it for me? Change the 52 to a 4. Change the 52 to a 4. And let's see what it is. Okay, $3,586.85. Okay, so the winner is weekly, and what Miles said was correct. The more times it's compounded, the more money we're going to accrue. Okay, so your answer should be bigger the more times it's getting compounded. Okay, so if you are like saving money, you want a higher compounded rate. Okay, but what if you're taking out a loan? You would want a lower compounded amount. Okay, all right.